All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the Gunner Technology Livestream, a weekly tech talk for non-techies and techies alike. I'm your host, Derry Merkins. With me is CEO of Gunner Technology, Cody Swan. What's up, Cody?
Not much. I swear that I am not moving into the woods. Just been traveling a lot, so I haven't been able to get in to get my hair and beard trimmed. Like, I'm not actually going.
You look a little bit Grizzly Adams, I'm not going to lie.
A little bit Grizzly Adams. Grizzly Adams did have a beard, in the words of
that's right. Yeah.
Who said that? Not Lee Trevino. Was it Lee Trevino?
It might have been Lee Trevino. Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Gosh, I haven't seen that movie in forever. Way too long. So let's dive right in with the Country Shore giveaway.
Lee Trevino nailed it.
Just, yeah, I guess you can't really mistake Lee Trevino for anyone else.
That's true.
As a unique looking golfer. So let's dive right into the Country Shore giveaway. Country Shore is a lifestyle brand for anyone who loves the outdoors. You can visit them at countryshoreoutfitters.com. The winner of the Country Shore giveaway is Alan B. from Chicago, Illinois. So Alan
B. getting a hat, if you know what I mean.
Oh, come on. I didn't know what you mean, and then I did know what you mean. Alan B. happy about the hats that are heading your way, and copies of our ebooks, our 4 ebooks, which I just learned. I thought we had 5, but we only have 4. So those are heading your way. And anyone else who's interested in winning a hat and copies of our ebooks can hop on our Facebook page, sign up for the Country Shore giveaway. And while you're on our Facebook page, answer our question of the week, which last week, what was the question of the week, Cody?
The question of the week last week: what technologies, if any, have made your life better? And so we got a few nods to apps we've built. Should I? You Consent.
Yep.
And then we had some of the common hitters in there, like email, telephone.
Okay, Grandpa.
I think I need to be more specific in the questions of the week, maybe. Although it is kind of funny to hear the old school thing. I don't see the cotton gin in there, so
yeah. My goodness, we're going way back.
The Gutenberg press. Gutenberg is not in there either.
Clothes lives better. Fire was a solid invention.
I mean,
did Jeff Bezos invent that? I think Jeff Bezos came up with fire.
He didn't invent it. He just made it easier to get in like 2 days.
$1 trillion company. By the way, I think it's only the second one ever. I think Apple is the first, and now Amazon is $1 trillion company.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the second fire ever. There's been 2 fires.
There's been 2 fire. Apple, it just came out with a competing fire. The Fire X.
It burns cleaner.
Yeah, right. And it looks so nice.
It runs out of fuel very quickly, though.
But it's so good looking. So what's the question of the week next week? What do people have to look forward to on our Facebook page?
Okay, so would you take less money if you could work remotely? And so it's a yes or no. And actually, we have the yes or no in GIF format again, which is yeah or no.
Man, that's an interesting question. I think that's sort of the way things are going.
All day,
it's
every
almost
day.
Like people have to.
All day, every day. I would take significantly less.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting stipulation, is how much less you would have to take. But even so, I'm not sure where I would even draw that line.
30% minimum. 30%.
30% less, or 30% of what you would earn. 30% less.
30% less.
Oh, I'd take half as much. I'd go even lower.
Yeah, I think I would say I think I could go even lower than that. Obviously, it depends on what the pay is, but I mean, there is just a life-sucking force that goes out of going into an office every day that I just cannot put a price tag on.
Yeah, it's tough. It'll be interesting to see who votes no, or who votes no would mean you wouldn't take less money to work remotely.
Jeff Bezos.
Right?
Jeff Bezos is going to be spamming that no button.
Get off of our Facebook, Jeff Bezos. You get out now. All right. Well, we have an interesting topic today, and it's actually apropos for September. The app we're going to be talking about today is an app called Performance Unlimited. So, Cody, just give people an idea of what Performance Unlimited accomplished.
Okay, so this started out as a much simpler application that was built for the Pittsburgh Pirates, actually. So what we did was we built a web app a responsive web app. For those of you who haven't listened to the show, and judging by the attendance, there's plenty, that a responsive app is one that will work on any device, whether it's a TV, a phone, an iPad, a desktop, a laptop, works wherever you go. So we developed this responsive app, and it was called Recovery Tracker at first. And so Recovery Tracker was a set of qualitative questions in survey format that would help athletes understand how recovered they were from previous workouts or previous days. The content is proprietary, so I don't want to give away. I don't want to give away specific questions, but it would ask questions that would get to the bottom of how much sleep the athlete had, alcohol, caffeine, a lot of those factors about what would hamper or hinder recovering. And so basically we did it so the athletes could take it by themselves, which never happened. They always had to sit down with a trainer who would encourage them to answer the questions. And so we made it so there was different roles involved in the application. So we had trainer, we had like general manager, and then we had athlete. And so each role had different access. And so, for example, a trainer could take the survey for an athlete, for example, and the athletes would complete the survey just about every day. They would complete it about every day. And then afterward, they would get a recovery score, which would go on a leaderboard, which other people could see, other athletes could see, and it would create a competition type atmosphere where they were kind of competing against one another to see who could be the most recovered.
And I'm looking now. The Pirates are 9 games back in the wild card, so we don't want to take any credit for that performance.
Right. Exactly.
Who actually came up with the algorithm for the metrics, the statistics we gathered, how they were compared and combined to come up with the recovery score?
Yeah, so it's actually built into the app, so you can build your own algorithm. You assign scoring points to each question, and it calculates the score based on a simple summation, but the value of each question and each answer is determined by the people who created the survey, kind of thing. And so I should say that as kind of like this was our first go at the app, the Recovery Tracker, and Performance Unlimited kind of evolved from there, where we started tying quantitative measures to qualitative data. So we were ingesting stats on players, and this evolved after the Pirates, in form of a more open application that was available to more people. And then so anyways, it would tie quantitative data to qualitative answers. So we could see, if a highly recovered player was performing better on the field than a non-recovered player.
Were the qualitative metrics done on sort of like the standard 5-point scale of like definite no, somewhat no, neutral, somewhat yes, definite yes, or were there other ways that we captured the qualitative measurements?
It was much more specific than that. It was like, how many cups of coffee did you have yesterday? 0 to 1, 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 5, more than 5. So it wasn't. It didn't ask like, how recovered do you feel? Not recovered at all. Very recovered.
And were those answers configurable in terms of cups of coffee? Could somebody go in there and have explicitly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or ranges 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7+, or whatever they wanted, really?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so everything about the app was
Is that Snoopy answering?
No, that's another one. Hold on, let me let him out of it. Let me let him into the other room.
They're multiplying.
Oh my gosh. Hold on.
I wonder what the combined weight of the dogs is. Ask Cody that. I think he's got at least 500 pounds of dog in that room right now. Dogs are huge. They're horse-sized. They're like small Shetland ponies.
For some reason,
what's the combined weight of your dogs?
I'd say, oh my gosh, 450 pounds.
I was close. I said 500. It's that close.
For some reason, the UPS guy is just standing out there, not delivering whatever he has to drop off, and it's driving them insane.
It's probably Jeff Bezos told him to spy on us.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So anyway, so back to your question, which was, oh yes, it was 100% configurable. The questions, the answers, whether something was required. It was basically a survey builder, like a Google Forms almost, but with a configurable algorithm that would record the answers.
As a total aside, this is something that I just heard of while we're talking about baseball. There's a thought of implementing something called a catch-up rule in baseball, which basically means if you go ahead in your half inning, you only get 2 outs in that inning.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So if the score was 0-0, top of the fourth, say, and somebody hits a home run, then that team would only have 2 outs max at that point. I don't know what happens if they hit a home run with 2 outs. But then say in the bottom of the fourth, somebody hits a 2-run homer, they go ahead, then they would only have 2 outs, and so on and so on. So I guess they ran simulations from old baseball games and found that it reduced the number of outs from, it was like on average, what would that be? 9 and 6. Yeah, it was like 52 and a half. Because like most half of the games end in the top of the ninth and half of the games end in the bottom of the ninth on average.
Okay.
And then with the simulation, it was like 46 or 47. It was some big reduction. Because I guess nobody goes to see baseball games anymore except for Brett Kavanaugh. But like, I guess there was like a significant time reduction. So they're talking about implementing this crazy rule to try and save baseball.
That's insane, and it makes me wonder what the mustard rule will be if this is the catch-up rule.
It'd be like The Simpsons, softball rules, where it's like,
that's right.
Take a drink in between innings. If you hit a home run, take a drink. So that's baseball for you.
That's so interesting.
That's our time.
Golf and baseball are considering some wild changes to save.
Yeah, golf was talking about increasing the size of the cup, or they've been talking about that for a long time to like double the size of it, so that people, I guess, duffers wouldn't waste as much time on the greens.
That is so crazy to me. And they're moving around the tournament schedules and everything, right?
Well, they're doing that for sure. I think it's PGA is going to be the second major now, in between the Masters and the U.S. Open, so that the PGA happens before NFL preseason, because I guess that matters for no apparent reason. And then the FedEx Cup is shortened, and then the Players Championship, I think, is before the Masters now in February or something crazy like that, or March. So I guess they're hurting too. Sports is toast. Speaking of sports being toast, what were the actual outcomes of Performance Unlimited? What sort of results did they see? Were they able to accurately associate the qualitative data with the quantitative data and see an actual, I guess it wouldn't necessarily be causative, it would at least be correlative, but
right.
But were they able to see those statistics match up?
Yeah, and so again, I have to make a clear delineation here. We moved on to other clients, and this is where, so we moved on to other clients outside of the Pirates who stuck with Recovery Tracker. And if you look back, I put in our case study, I'm not saying that we're responsible for this, but if you look at when the Pirates made the playoffs,
right,
and how terrible they were before we developed this application, is it random? I don't know.
But we're not making a claim one way or the other. We're just saying, take a look.
I'll do the Donald Trump thing and just send out a suggestive question. Us?
In capital letters.
Yeah, exactly. Question mark. Gunner Technology? I don't know.
I'm not saying it was. What was that? Was that the Pirate Squad with McCutcheon?
That was. Yes, it was. That's it.
The time period for this would have been around 2010, 2011. Is that right?
No. 2012, I think.
Yeah, I'm a little early. Yeah. 2012.
But anyway, so to answer your question, yes, there was definitely correlative data. Now, I also have to stress that because the Pirates were using proprietary survey data, It's not like every club that we brought this to used the same surveys. They were creating their own surveys. And these new surveys didn't, as far as I know, they didn't have anything to do with recovery. They were asking other questions to try to draw a correlation between the answers to the questions and their performance on the field. So, like I said, it's totally open ended. So they could have been trying to see if exactly sleep was correlated to on-field performance, or number of hours in the batting cage translated to performance on the field. They could have used they basically created surveys in whatever way they wanted, and we ingested the data from a stats provider, and we drew correlations between, or we drew maps between the data, the quantitative data, meaning the on-field performance, and the answers to the survey questions. So we'd say something like, when Andrew McCutcheon spends 4 hours or more in the batting cage, his batting average is, 20 points higher or something like that. So that's kind of what we did. And it was kind of a builder type thing where they would go in and they'd pick the data set, and they'd pick the qualitative data set, pick the quantitative data set, and match them up. And then we would have some kind of intelligent mapping where if we saw big shifts between one of the answers and one of the performance metrics, we would try to be like, hey, did you notice this kind of thing? So that's kind of how it worked overall for all the other clubs that used it.
This is really sort of at the forefront of the big data push in sports. 2012 is when that really started to take off. Are you seeing examples of similar applications or similar qualitative, quantitative studies being done in other sports or with other applications?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, and this is kind of where we are, engineers first. We don't really have biz dev or marketing. However, so we didn't market this toward any other league, although it was completely apropos for other leagues like the NFL. We would have had to have changed the way we ingest data, but the survey portion would have been flexible enough to handle any sport, or even like corporate environments where you could have found out like sales data compared to how much sleep the sales staff is getting, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
However, so Major League Baseball released its own big data application that did something very similar, and they're like, yeah, all the clubs, you use ours. So basically Performance Unlimited got pushed out of MLB, and we never took it to another league per se. But yeah, so you see a lot of that now with the leagues offering these tools to every team, and in a way that tries to keep them on the same level playing field, which is kind of weird. The leagues are really trying to prevent the teams from getting an advantage technologically.
Huh. Is that why there was that big pushback? It was the Cardinals stole from the Astros, right? And they got in huge trouble for that.
Yes. I think that was just theft. So I think
that was just straight theft. I guess that's. I think that's not allowed in any league.
But
although I guess that is interesting. I guess the leagues would promote parity as much as possible, because nobody wants to go and see a team that is completely in the toilet. So you don't want anyone to be that bad. Yeah, I guess more so than you don't want anyone to be that good. People go see amazing teams. I guess they just don't see the Browns. I'm talking to the Browns here. Nobody gets to see the Browns.
Well, the interesting thing is that I was reading, and I've heard that one of the leaders in technological innovation are the Patriots.
I thought you could say the Browns. I was about to be completely blown away.
The Patriots have developed a lot of machine learning and image recognition to try to read formations and glean tendencies. If it's 3rd and 8, the 49ers are, if it's 3rd and 8 before the 50-yard line, the 49ers on average call for a skinny post 70% of the time, kind of thing.
Is that a bang 8 route?
Yeah, that's a bang out. That's a bang 8. The bang 8. And so they'll also do things like try to use technology to read QB's cadences, try to get you to jump off the line. So I've really read that they take it a step further in a lot of the advances in technology.
Yeah, they're really good too about going for it on fourth down. I think Belichick understands that it doesn't make sense to punt a lot of times, especially when you're around the 50-yard line. It makes way more sense to go for it on fourth, which I guess they just run the numbers on that.
And he just doesn't care either. He doesn't care because the only reason you wouldn't do that is because if you're scared of like getting criticized or like a bad outcome, like an outlying bad outcome.
Yeah, my goodness, that man just does not care about that.
He doesn't care.
I think it's actually interesting that the teams that are the most technological are the teams that seem to do the best. I know the Spurs do something similar in the NBA. I know the Seahawks did that in the NFL, and they've been successful for a long time. The A's, obviously, the Moneyball teams from the early 2000s were sort of the really early pioneers in using technology and data to improve franchises. The Astros, I think, did something similar too, and they just won the World Series. So it's weird that it actually works. It's kind of shocking that it actually works. It's not just snake oil.
Then there's the Browns who are drawing up plays on cardboard.
Yeah. They just do it in the dirt, old school style, or like on their chest. They like draw the routes out on their chest so the other team can't see. Like pick up football.
We don't need technology. We can use our hands.
They just got shoulder pads this season. They're very excited about that.
Why do you think they call us the Browns?
The poor Browns, man. They're gonna be bad for forever. My folks have been Cleveland fans for like 50 years, so that's a solid dynasty.
Fan. It's tough.
It's tough. It really is tough.
I think once the Royals when the Royals won the World Series recently, they firmly set Cleveland as the most feudal franchise across sports, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, now that LeBron's gone, I don't think the Cavs will win another game. The Indians had it, though.
The Indians had it. The Indians were the poster child for the lovable losers. Man, yeah. Also, maybe it's just something about Ohio. True. Man.
Yeah, Cleveland's had a bad run. I think Cleveland's probably had the worst run of any city in sports. I can't think of another city that's even close, actually. So what was it? What was the technology stack like? I know you said it was a responsive web app, but what was this built on? Because this is sort of early days, 2012 of Gunner Technology.
Yeah, that's right. That was before even React was a thing.
Yeah,
which is our big stack now. So we were using Ruby on Rails and a lot of background processing to kind of crunch the numbers. But it was all written in Ruby, and we were also using a SQL-based database. I want to say Postgres. We were using a Postgres database. And then we did a lot of JavaScript on the front end. So obviously being a responsive app, it was heavy on the front end with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And we did a lot of the form building using JavaScript, and did a lot of the validation using JavaScript as well. So that was on the front end. And the back end, like I said, was the Ruby on Rails framework. And it was kind of leveraged with a Postgres database. And then I think we were sending the data to Athena on AWS for the processing, which happened in near real time, not exactly real time, but in near real time for the correlations. So that was kind of the stack we used, and it was sufficient for what it was. I mean, I think that to your point, you say a lot. It still would be good enough today. There's nothing inherently in there that needs to be rewritten. It works just fine. As a matter of fact, if Bill Belichick called us up and wanted to use it, it would be good to go, in a couple hours. So it really has held up in terms of longevity, and we never had to kind of make any scalability adjustments to it. Even though we went from, like one team to, several teams using it. So there was it was pretty firmly built. So it's one of those things where you look back and you're like, we do a lot of things differently, but that application, I don't think we would have to even touch today.
Yeah, it was good. It was good enough. Fellow Wesleyan alum Bill Belichick, I'll hop on the alumni network and shoot him a message.
Nudge him.
Hey, Billy B, you need some sort of performance tracker? Have you heard of this?
Do they have poking on that network? Can you poke them?
Gosh, yeah. We use Facebook 1.0 on the Wesleyan Alumni Network. Any closing? Oh, actually, we had a question. I meant to throw this question out. Is it still available, Performance Unlimited?
It is. Like I said, if any, someone who wanted to license it from us wanted to get a hold of us and use it, it certainly is still available. It is not in use right now by anyone. However, like I said, the technology is just sitting there, and we could onboard anyone just like we did with the teams and get them off and running.
So give us a shout. Any closing thoughts on Performance Unlimited before we wrap it up?
No, I just, like you said, it was like kind of on the cusp of the big data push, and it really was, in a lot of respects, big data, not necessarily a sheer ton of data like when you're ingesting, say, traffic light data or something like that, but there was a lot of correlative processing that was going on to match data up, which is a form of big data processing. So it was really interesting to kind of be doing that before all of these. What am I trying to say? Right now, you can go Google getting started with big data, and there's hundreds of tutorials. AWS will pretty much do it for you at this point. It was interesting learning it on our own when we didn't have kind of that community to help us and the buzzwords behind the technology that elevates it into more of a readily discussionable topic.
Yeah, it really is sort of one of the buzzwords du jour is big data. We should have followed players from other teams and watched them sleep. No. Like watched what they ate, watched them sleep, and tracked how long they slept for, and gotten data from other teams, and then used that data to analyze what actually worked.
We should have sold the data from one team to the other. I'm just kidding. That was
That's a perfect endorsement for using Performance Unlimited. Your data is totally secure.
That's what Facebook would have done.
Yeah, they would have. They would have sold that for a nickel.
Yeah, they would have sold it to Hershey's chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Gunner Technology Livestream. Join us next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the next episode. You can hop on our Facebook page and enter the Country Store giveaway. Country Store is a lifestyle brand for anyone who loves the outdoors. Visit them at countrystoreoutfitters.com. And while you're on our Facebook page, go ahead and answer the question of the week, which this week, what is the question of the week again, Cody?
Would you take less money if you could work remotely? And the answers are yeah and no in GIF format.
So pick the correct GIF, answer the question of the week. Check out our ebooks at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, Kobo, and anywhere else ebooks are sold. You can check out the podcast for this episode at iTunes. The associated blog post will be at gunnertech.com. And make sure to tune in next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the next episode of the Gunner Technology Livestream. I'm Derry. That's Cody. We'll see you next week.